Hey, hello everybody. It's John Johnston from Coronation with looking at the news. Texas and Oklahoma are going to leave the Big 12 and go to the SEC. Yeah, I got a lot to say about this, but first I'll start off with the Nebraska fans, whom I love dearly. There honestly were a bunch of you that seriously wanted to go back to the Big 12, didn't you? And I look at that and I wonder, where is your head? That conference isn't any different than the one we left 10 years ago. You know, Texas, we left because Texas wouldn't grant the rights to the conference so the conference could have a network. Why? Because Texas is a greedy, arrogant bunch of bastards. That's it. Nothing changed. What you miss is the winning. You don't miss that conference. I realize maybe if you're older and you have nostalgia or romanticism for the past where you could drive down to Kansas State and drive to Ames and watch the games and stuff from Lincoln, but if you miss that, no, that's not good. It's time to move on. And if you're one of those people thinking right now, you think, well, it'd be nice to have Oklahoma join us in the Big Ten. No. Oklahoma jilted us years ago when we formed the Big 12. They are not our rival. They haven't been our rival since the old Big 8 days. No amount of romanticism changes that. I've said that repeatedly on my website for years. And it's time that it sunk in. Let it go. It's in the past. It's dead. And unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be a dead conference very soon. Did you want to go back to dead conference land? If you're still say yes to that, you're some kind of nutball that I can't get through to you. Let's move on. SEC fans. Man, you guys. I know you're all crazy people in the SEC. Each school has its own kind of little bit different sort of nutty going on. But you got to understand, Texas has to be the most arrogant, greedy school in the nation. They have the highest revenue in the nation. Big whoop. But they are a filthy whore full of foul disease. That's it. And I know that some of you can probably say negative things about Florida or LSU or Alabama, Auburn. You could go on. But Texas is its own special arrogance, its own greediness. I mean, let's face it, Nebraska and Texas, neither of us have been really good at football since we left since Nebraska left the Big 12. But Texas acts like there's still something. And they expect to be back at any moment. That's why they have that joke about it. And that's why we have Scott Frost Day. But just so you know what you're getting into if you invite Texas into the conference. It's like an STD. You're going to catch it if you play around with them. Just, I'm caution. It's a word of caution about Texas. I've known some fine people from the University of Texas, but very few. Anyway, Oklahoma, they're just dumb. But they're not so dumb that they're going to go into this and make Texas look like the bad guys. They, I think Oklahoma, they still have a place in my heart. I don't hate Oklahoma that much. I mean, those games years ago were a blast. They were great games, but they're in the past. I wish you luck. You have one of the better football programs in the nation. When you go to the SEC, that isn't going to last. So good luck with that thought. I'd say something about baseball. I think Texas baseball probably could do decently. Well, they'll get in the NCAA conference every year because everybody in the SEC gets in the NCAA conference. Let's move on. Big 12 fans and Big 12 people. Ooh. I don't want to go too far into the I told you so stuff. But I do remember years ago kind of being laughed at, and you're leaving the Big 12 because you can't beat Texas. No, this is why we left the Big 12. And I know a lot of people who are Iowa State alums, Kansas State people, some from Missouri, but they're in the SEC now. I feel for you because this is going to, Iowa State's program. This is going to decimate their athletic department. I don't know what's going to happen to Kansas State either. You know, TCU, West Virginia, you know, Kansas, Oklahoma State, they'll probably go places. Oklahoma State, maybe Pac-12. People are talking about Kansas joining the Big Ten. We'll get to more of that in a minute. I'm skeptical of Kansas to the Big Ten just because, I don't know, I don't think they bring much, but they do bring the basketball brand. And the Big Ten is one hell of a basketball conference, so I'm probably wrong about that. They probably bring a lot more. And of course your response is, well, what did Nebraska bring? Hey, we brought 1.8 million people and a lot of TV viewers and a brand. So that's probably what Kansas is going to the Big Ten. Okay, but you know, the Big 12 schools that are going to be left behind, they don't have little recourse. They can threaten Texas and Oklahoma all they want, and aside from like sending assassins after, you know, presidents of the university, there's not, Texas and Oklahoma can just buy out of this thing and destroy the Big 12, and that's kind of sad. It really is sad. That brings us to the Big Ten. My conference. It's nice to have a stable home that makes a lot of money. Even if we aren't seeing the success we want. Maybe that'll change this year. Who knows? It's not that far away. But when you're looking at the Big Ten right now, the Big Ten really kind of needs to start being proactive about expansion, right? They should be talking to Kansas right now, while you're watching this, they should be having conversations with Kansas. I don't know who else. I'm not that great at that prognostication stuff. But one thing about this is Kevin Warren is our commissioner. That should terrify you. Because today was Big Ten Media Days, and you know, Kevin Warren looked nice, and he talked very well. He is an excellent commissioner from the perspective that he did an excellent job of taking every question he got and stretching it out by saying a whole lot of words that meant nothing, which is important to reporters who have to fill stories, because they don't even have to write them. They can just use Kevin Warren quotes that are this long but don't mean anything. Great bureaucrat, but he's going to be the guy that's your leader in the next round of expansion, and probably TV contract talks, and the big, you know, this 12-team playoff expansion is coming, and God, you know, we probably should pray for Kevin Warren or ourselves. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot more that I could say about this. I guess I'll finish with this. I think it's exciting. There have been an amazing amount of changes this summer. You know, name, image, and likeness is in place now, and you're seeing athletes sign deals all over the place. You're looking at a major, you know, the conference realignment stuff coming back to life, which is just massive amounts of hits for everything. And then your 12-team playoff expansion. What an incredible summer for college football. I'll finish with this. I don't necessarily like where this is going for the long run. I mean, this is, you know, there was always this thing with college football that I was in it because I loved it because of the purity aspect. Not that I didn't recognize that there was a lot of exploitation, a lot of hypocrisy about student athletes and free labor, you know, that kind of shit. But the whole they play the sport because they want to thing, you know, I always I love that idea. And I don't think it's going to be around very long anymore. And I don't think we should even pretend about that. So that's my thoughts on Texas and Oklahoma screwing the rest of the Big 12. You know, good luck to you guys who are in those Big 12 schools. And if you're a Texas alum watching this, you know what? Go Big Red. I hope you're all doing well. Take care of yourselves.